Have you ever thought about saving lives? I'm sure you're imagining doctors, nurses, police officers, but even you have the power to save lives. My name is Samran Shahid, and I've been in Japan for a little over 15 years now. And today, I'm going to tell you how we can save lives without wearing uniform. Each year, there are millions of people who die from accidents, diseases, strokes, and various other causes. And the sad part is, some of them could have carried on healthy lives had they received sufficient amount of blood via transfusion on time. In India alone, there is an annual shortage of 3 million units of blood. According to World Health Organization, 117.4 million units of blood are collected annually. Of this, 42% of the donations come from high-income countries, home to less than 16% of the world population. These figures clearly tell us that there is an acute shortage of blood. There's a problem of donor shortage and much bigger issue of disproportionate distribution. What does this tell you about us? Can people who have donated blood please raise their hand? Few I see. Though maybe not a reason for us, but a part that we have lack of blood donors is due to widespread misconception that blood donation is considered to be unorthodox in many societies, especially third world countries. Secondly, it is also due to fear that people have of catching bloodborne diseases such as hepatitis or HIV. And that's justified because worldwide up to 4 million people have been infected by HIV by transfusion of unsafe blood. The answer to this is to build safe environment. We need to prioritize hygiene and sterilization of equipment so that we can get blood donations to save lives and not lose more to the infections associated with the risk of transfusion. Evidence from around the world has shown that infection rates are invariably low among voluntary unpaid donors who donate blood for truly altruistic reason. Voluntary unpaid donors are more likely to be honest in answering questions regarding their health and lifestyle, which helps us to screen out those at risk of carrying this infection. Simply being a volunteer donating blood can help solve the issue. However, being willing isn't a panacea. In a region like Africa with a population having less income compared to the rest of the world, people are more susceptible to catch an infection. Poor logistics lead to lack of safety equipment, and lack of proper training leads to high infection rates, which leads to lack of confidence in science and eventually leads to lack of blood donors. So there's no simple solution to that. Infection rates would drop with better medical infrastructure, and better training programs will lead to better patient and donor handling. Yet countries in Africa seriously lack the funding to bring this vicious cycle to an end. But the careful use of resources, like the example of Rwanda, can help solve the financial obstacle. In a world where drones are effectively used to kill people, Rwanda is using drones to save lives. Using cheap and ultralight drones to deliver blood to medical facilities rather than waiting for the land infrastructure to be developed, Rwanda is setting an example on how we can use modern technology and resource allocation to overcome financial obstacles. I have a connection to the topic I'm speaking of today. I lost my grandparents due to heart-related diseases. So I sometimes wonder they might have not gone through this all, such as bypass surgery, to 30 cannulations a month, to dialysis, to name a few. I also wonder, had there been modern medical technologies, such as gene screening and gene therapy, they might have not suffered as they did. Now, when I say the word immortal, what comes to your mind? I'm sure you're imagining some elixir from classic tale of Nicholas Flamel's Philosopher's Stone or Fountain of Youth. But the reality is, modern medical technologies have begun to encroach on the realms of fantasy. Last year alone, 3,500 heart transplants were done worldwide. Yet, at any given time, there are 3,500 to 4,500 people only in US waiting for a heart or lung transplant. And the sad part is, a fourth of them do not live long enough to receive a new heart or lung. Horribly, the average waiting time in most centers is 3 to 5 years. We badly need a transplantation system that focuses on grassroots level. Awareness among people that organ donation is a reality and a lifesaver, and even after death, it can save up to 75 lives, is key. We have seen decline in faith people have on modern medicine. Firstly, it is due to medical negligence. Last year alone, 2 million people were infected with hospital-acquired infections, according to Center for Disease Control. Secondly, it is due to academic equivalent of fake science or fake news. Concepts such as autisms are caused by vaccines or global warming is made up by China. Let us not get fooled by misconceptions. We need more people to join in our mission to save lives. More people to get invested in science of medicine and biotechnology. There are a lot of questions that need to be answered, such as HIV, Ebola, cancer. But before that, we need to get our basics right. Basic yet crucial fundamental steps, such as hygiene and sanitation. We need to adapt our society to the rapid pace at which science and technology are making breakthrough, while not forgetting the basics. Do you all know that at quantum level in our cells, we all humans are programmed. In fact, all organisms are programmed. And that program governs us so completely that controls not only our physical state, but also our mental state. Think if we could use something so powerful to our advantage. Consider if we could screen every single human's genome. We could factor out the risk a person has of getting chronic disease over a lifetime, or a genetic disease over a lifetime. Each year, there are 42,000 women worldwide who die of breast cancer. If we can screen a woman and tell her that she has 70% chance of getting breast cancer at some point of her life, we can take many precautionary steps, such as medications, hormonal therapies, or even surgical procedures to slay cancer before it rears its ugly head. Gene screening and gene therapy are technologies that are way ahead. They're not only helping us annihilate cancer, but also Alzheimer's, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases, the largest cause of death in humans at this point. This technology is so powerful that it can change the course of our species. We have advanced a lot in science and technology, but what about our society? A few years back, the conservative population in northwestern provinces of Pakistan believed that polio vaccines caused more harm than good, and much more controversially, went against their religion. But a few years back, clerics endorsed vaccines in Pakistan. And we haven't found a single case of polio in Pakistan from 2016. What does this tell us? This tells us that our society is governed by people or influenced by people who hold the keys to bring a change. It's not only doctors, nurses, or pathologists in a lab that changes medicine or changes the world of medicine. It's all of us combined that change the world of medicine. And what better way to strengthen a cause than to join it? We have traveled so far from rudimentary ideas of Aristotle to revolutionizing images of DNA by Watson and Crick. But there's still a lot left to travel. And we can't do that with extra baggage of ignorance and doubt about the motives of new technology. So I believe if we set the right precedent today, we can foster a better future for our generations to come. Thank you.